Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Looking for these better days.
It is Monday, August 3rd. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. Major League Baseball trade deadline is later tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And we had a slew of moves that were made yesterday and over the weekend that we have to break down. Plus, we continue our 32 in 32 NFL team previews with the Indianapolis Colts on this episode of Better Day presented by FanDuel. We start with the Major League Baseball trade deadline. Yesterday, the Chicago Cubs acquiring right-hander Kevin Gausman from the Toronto Blue Jays. So that's going to bolster their rotation as they make a postseason push. Speaking of pitchers on the move, the Atlanta Braves acquiring veteran starter Tyler Mahle from the San Francisco Giants. The Tampa Bay Rays acquiring right-hander Freddie Peralta from the New York Mets. The New York Yankees acquired slugging infielder Luis Garcia Jr. from the Washington Nationals. Garcia gives much-needed pop to this Yankee lineup that has just been decimated by injuries, already without Judge and Stanton, now without Bellinger recently. 26-year-old Garcia has 560 slugging, which leads the National League. He's batting .283 with a career-high 23 home runs, 873 OPS, and 134 WRC plus in 104 games this season. So a much-needed addition to this Yankees lineup, which, by the way, got a win yesterday, 2-1 over the Chicago Cubs, taking 2 of 3 games on the north side this weekend. Garrett Cole pitched really well, and that's a good sign for the New York Yankees. Cole went 5 2/3 innings, only allowed 1 run on 4 hits, 5 strikeouts, but 3 walks, and he did leave in a bases-loaded jam, but it was Brent Hedrick who got out of the jam in that 6th inning. So the Yankees get a win, but earlier in the day, acquire Garcia Jr., a massive addition to this Yankees lineup, a much-needed addition to this Yankees lineup. Of course, the big story in Major League Baseball earlier this weekend, we found out that the Dodgers acquired Tarik Skubal from the Detroit Tigers for a package of 3 prospects: outfielder Zahir Hope, starting pitchers River Ryan and Brady Smith. And a lot of people around Major League Baseball are frustrated by this for a multitude of reasons. One, it's the Dodgers, so it's like the rich getting richer. The World Series favorites become shorter World Series favorites. Dodgers right now up on FanDuel, plus 155 favorites to win the World Series. The Yankees, as the second favorite, are plus 600. So think about that drop-off between the Dodgers and the second favorite, the New York Yankees. The second favorite in the National League, the Atlanta Braves, they're plus 850. The Brewers plus 950. Dodgers, again, plus 155 favorites to win the World Series up on FanDuel. So a lot of reasons why people are frustrated. One, again, Dodgers, rich getting richer. 2, competitive balance. People are like, why, the Dodgers are just going to get everybody. They're going to pay for everybody. Players want to go to the Dodgers. How are any other markets going to compete when there's just no salary cap and the Dodgers can spend more than anybody and players can dictate where they want to go, and maybe that forces a team's hand and they want to go play for the Los Angeles Dodgers. But Dodgers manager Dave Roberts said, quote, "It just seems like there's always blowback with us. People are passionate. There's nothing that we did that no one else couldn't have done. I just love our front office. We have to have the players to go pull something like this off, and we've still got, arguably the top 1 or 2 or 3 farm systems in baseball," end quote. And that's the thing that it's kind of hard for people to understand, like the average baseball fan that looks at this trade and says, well, the Tigers dealt him to the Dodgers for nothing, right? For peanuts. And yeah, when Dave Roberts says every other team in Major League Baseball could have done this, that's kind of the feeling from baseball fans. Like there were other packages that might have looked better from other teams. So why did the Dodgers win out in this race to trade for Tarik Skubal? What's crazy about this whole thing, right, is when you actually look at the prospect rankings, like you can look at the top 100 prospects in all of Major League Baseball, and right now, the highest ranked prospect that the Tigers got in this deal was Zahir Hope, who's the 25th ranked prospect in all of Major League Baseball. He's an outfielder. He's in Double A right now. So that's the highest ranked player that the Tigers got out of this. River Ryan, AAA relief pitcher or AAA pitcher, he's 68th on MLB's top 100 prospects in all of Major League Baseball. But if you take a look at who the Dodgers have on this list, Josue De Paula, an outfielder in Double-A right now, is the fourth highest rated prospect in all of Major League Baseball in the Dodgers system. Mike Sirota, an outfielder in Double-A, the 11th ranked prospect in all of Major League Baseball right now. Eduardo Quintero, the 19th ranked prospect in all of Major League Baseball. Emil Morales, the number 24 ranked prospect in all of Major League Baseball. All four of those guys that I mentioned all rank higher right now than the highest player that they gave up in this trade for Tarek Skubal. And so I think that's what frustrates people is like, wait a minute, the Dodgers just got Tarek Skubal and they didn't have to give up their top four prospects. How does that make sense? How does Tarek Skubal go to any team, let alone the Dodgers, and in return, you don't get the top prospects in that team's organization? I'm sure a lot of other teams out there in Major League Baseball might have been willing to part ways with some of their top prospects. I don't know, but I can see the frustration from baseball fans and from people around the game as to seeing the Dodgers get even better with Tarek Skubal now. And as I mentioned, they are the favorite to win the World Series at plus 155. Still plenty of more moves to be made by the 6 p.m. Eastern time deadline tonight. I think it's going to be very interesting, to see if the Yankees are able to pull off a deal for an arm, whether it is a relief pitcher or a starting pitcher. They didn't make that big move to bolster their lineup, but anticipating the return of Giancarlo Stanton and hopefully the return of Aaron Judge, the lineup should be fine. Now you need some help in the bullpen. I know they got Camilo Doval. It's like a minor deal, but is Mason Miller on the block? And is it going to be a deal that the Yankees are able to pull off here before the deadline? Taking a look at your schedule today in Major League Baseball, and some of these games could be impacted by some trades that occur prior to the deadline. Phillies will send Aaron Nola to the mound as they host the Washington Nationals up on FanDuel. Philly minus 156. Cardinals are at the Yankees. It's Cam Schlittler on the mound for the Bombers. New York minus 199. Pirates are at the Brewers. Milwaukee minus 149. Brandon Sproat goes for them. Bubba Chandler for the Pirates. Giants are at the Rangers, where San Francisco, a short minus 110 favorite with Logan Webb on the mound against Cal Quantrill. Dodgers are at the Cubs. Justin Robleski for the Dodgers. Matthew Boyd for the Cubs. LA minus 127. Shane Bieber on the bump for the Blue Jays in Houston against the Astros, and Christian Javier, Houston minus 135. Rays are at the Rockies, where Tampa Bay minus 163, and the Padres are at the Diamondbacks. Arizona, a short minus 111 favorite. Brandon Fod on the mound for them. All right, let's continue our 32 in 32 NFL team previews with today's team, the Indianapolis Colts. As we continue our 32 in 32 NFL team previews, we stick in the AFC South. Started with the Houston Texans on Friday, and today we get into the Indianapolis Colts. Up on FanDuel right now, the Indianapolis Colts odds to make the playoffs are at plus 156. This team is 50-1 to win the Super Bowl. Their win total is at 7.5, minus 140 to the over, and their odds in the AFC South plus 360, the third favorite. The big story with this team, of course, is the quarterback position. Daniel Jones cleared to practice last week, 7.5 months after suffering a torn Achilles, and we know the recovery time is a lot less than it used to be with Achilles injuries. But last year, Daniel Jones was also recovering from an injury and clearly was not as mobile as fans were accustomed to seeing from Daniel Jones. Like, this is a guy who was a top-tier running quarterback with the New York Giants. Last year, according to PFF, Daniel Jones only had 3 rushing attempts on designed quarterback runs last season. One of them was actually a bad snap that he ran. From 2020 to 2024, Daniel Jones averaged 28 designed rushing attempts per season. And according to NFL Next Gen Stats, Daniel Jones scrambled at the 7th lowest rate in the NFL in 2025. So recovering from the Achilles injury, is his mobility back? Or will Daniel Jones play the start of the season hesitant? And I think that's the aspect we should probably look at. If you look at last year's numbers with him, dealing with injury and having the limited designed runs, I think we could see that to start this year. And then maybe after a few weeks, once he gets confidence, right, in the Achilles, once it's been, more time that he's had to rehab and get better and get stronger, then we might see some more runs, designed runs, and the more willingness to run from Daniel Jones. But early on in the season, I would be all on the unders for Daniel Jones with the rushing attempts, with the rushing yardage. I would be looking to fade Daniel Jones props as far as rushing the football, because I think that there's going to be some hesitancy with that injury and with the limited mobility just to start. Again, we'll see how it plays out after the first couple of weeks of the season. As far as who's Jones's backup going to be if he does suffer another injury, I don't think the Colts even know right now. I think it's an open competition between Riley Leonard and Anthony Richardson. Both of them split first-team reps when Daniel Jones was held out of OTAs in the spring. And whoever wins this job, it's going to be the backup quarterback. Whoever loses this job might find themselves on a new team, to be honest with you, because with the new quarterback rules, the emergency quarterback, all that stuff, are you going to keep a guy on your roster, or are you going to wind up just trading him? Because I do think Anthony Richardson and Riley Leonard could be serviceable backups here around the league. Other news as far as injuries are concerned, wide receiver Alec Pierce was dealing with an ankle injury this offseason. He's going to be limited for some of training camp, is what they're reporting, if not all of training camp. So the Indianapolis Colts are in an interesting situation where their offense is not going to be at 100% to start the season. And then you look at this schedule, and this is a brutal schedule to start the season. The Colts start the season against the Baltimore Ravens. Very difficult opening game. Then they go to Kansas City, and we'll get to Kansas City eventually on our 32 and 32 previews. But watching some of these training camp videos, I don't know what we're going to get from Patrick Mahomes to start the year. But the Chiefs are going to be favored in that game, and it's the Colts going, from indoors to outdoors, and let's see how they do in Kansas City against the Chiefs team. Then they take on the Houston Texans, who is the class of this AFC South. Then they go to London, which is never an easy trip, but you go to London to face Washington. They chose to not have the bye after the London game, and then they go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a very tough first 5 games of the season. Baltimore, Kansas City, Houston, Washington, and London, and then Pittsburgh without the bye. That is not an easy start. And then, the season, I don't really think lets up, right? Tennessee is going to be improved. Minnesota, I'm high on. Jacksonville in the division. Dallas, Miami, Houston, the Giants. Okay, maybe a little respite there. Then they're bye in week 13. And then it's Eagles, Titans, Bengals, Cleveland, and Jacksonville. So maybe wins to be had there towards the end of the season. But honestly, as much as I like Houston in this division, and I do think Jacksonville is going to have a pretty decent year, like comparable to what they did last year, maybe not as good, but I do think Jacksonville is better than this Colts team. I think, the over 7.5 is minus 140 right now. I don't hate taking it under 7.5, to be honest with you, because here's what's going to happen. Once they get through that, difficult opening slate to start the season, and maybe they're 1-4 after 5 games, like think about what the adjusted win total is going to be. And at that point, maybe you can play a live over and actually like middle both of your bets, like you win the under 7.5, you win the adjusted over 5.5. I don't know. But there's something that could be looked at, because I think after the start to the season, it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very tough sledding to come back from, what could be a very poor record after the first 5 weeks of the NFL season. As far as the awards market is concerned, Daniel Jones plus 1,200 to be the comeback player of the year. Shane Steichen plus 2,700 to be the coach of the year. Coming up for the remainder of this week, tomorrow we will get into the Jacksonville Jaguars. On Wednesday, the Tennessee Titans. And then on Thursday, we begin the AFC West with the Denver Broncos. And on Friday, the Kansas City Chiefs for our 32 in 32 NFL team previews. Programming announcement. I'm going to send an email out, and I'm also going to tweet this out as well, but I wanted to share it with you guys on this podcast. We do have our fall content plans already secured. I did mention this in the Better Day community chat on Telegram yesterday. By the way, if you are a Better Day insider or premium member, and you're on the mobile app, just click the community chat link. It brings you to the Telegram. And yes, we are no longer using Telegram for picks delivery. Every pick, both pregame and live in-game, will be delivered via the Better Day mobile app. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you download the Better Day mobile app. Of course, all the picks still up online, up on betterday.com, exclusively for Better Day Premium members now. Better Day Insider is a whole different tier, so make sure you check that out. Go to betterday.com or click or download the Better Day mobile app and learn more. We are still running our 50% discount for the first month, so check out that link in our newsletter. But here's what our podcast plans will look like in the fall, and by fall, I mean literally in a couple of weeks, we're going to be starting this plan. Monday mornings. And by the way, the Better Day podcast, as you're listening to this, you know it's released 5:45 a.m. Monday through Friday, Eastern time. So you get your podcast every single day, every single morning. Listen on the way to work, listen in the morning gym, whenever you feel like it. But here's our content plans. On Monday mornings, it'll be Mackenzie Rivers joining me as we break down the entire Sunday slate of the NFL. What were the biggest takeaways, some early leans for the next week's action. On Tuesday mornings, Michael Fiddle will join me on the Better Day podcast. We will recap Monday Night Football and look ahead to the next week in the NFL. On Wednesday mornings, David Behrman will join me on the podcast. We'll get all of his insights in both college football and the NFL. And as we continue with any golf events, Behrman will give us his betting card for the golf PGA and whatnot. On Thursday mornings, AJ Hoffman will join me on the podcast where we will preview Thursday Night Football in both the NFL and college football. And speaking of Thursdays, at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific Time, starting on Thursday, August 13th, the Better Day Football Show, a live stream on the Better Day YouTube channel and on Twitter at Better_Day. Myself, Steve Fezzik, and Joshua Nunn, a.k.a. the man they call Duck, we will be doing the Better Day Football Show, a live stream, 1 hour long program every Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific time. And then on Friday mornings, I will do a little recap of Thursday Night Football, as well as repurpose some of the audio from the live stream with Fez and Duck, more specifically geared towards the college football games that are coming up on the next day on Saturday. So those are our content plans. We will also be featuring bets for Better Day Premium members from Fiddle, Behrman, Hoffman, Fez, and more, and free play write-ups from some contributors as well. So if you are not a Better Day Premium member, that's okay. Better Day Insider members and just the Better Day, make every day a better day. Better Day followers will get free play articles on the mobile app and on betterday.com as well, especially when it comes to college football and the NFL for props and whatnot. We will be having a lot of free content as well. So don't worry, there'll be plenty of free content available for you as well. Be sure to follow us on social media at Better_Day on Twitter and on YouTube at Better Day, and you'll be able to stay locked in with everything that we have going on the Better Day mobile app and up on betterday.com and on our social media and on this podcast feed as well. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.